you stated in the beginning of the show that you have cats, right?
I have 4 cats, yes.
I have 2.
4 cats. And you have 2, James, don't you say? Yep. Have you guys ever come home really, really angry at your cat and saw that it pooped outside the litter box and you decided to put them into a crate and leave them outside for 6 months? Still fed them and watered them, but just left them outside because they pooped outside the litter box?
No.
No.
Because it has no evidence that it would achieve the goal that I want, which is for the cat to poop in the litter box.
Yeah, so what just happened is you suggested a course of action. Matt evaluated it using what he knows, and he determined that that action would cause harm, and that there are alternative courses of action to achieve the same ends that are effective.
But would it really cause harm? I mean, if you beat a child,
Yes.
you know, I mean, you die from being beaten.
Beating a child causes harm.
Yes, it causes harm.
Psychological and physical.
Putting a cat in a crate for a few months, is that
Harms the
cause
cat.
harm?
Yes. You don't get to write off psychological harm and as if it's not reasonable to consider.
Do you eat bacon?
Yes.
Yes.
How about you,
also.
Jamie? Do you eat bacon?
I also
do you
eat
realize what those animals go through?
Yes.
Do you realize that you're taking a pig that's smarter? Studies show that they're smarter than cats and dogs. Actually, they're as smart as a 3-year-old child.
I don't know how is smart relevant?
You also didn't ask whether I would eat a cat or eat cat meat.
Yeah, but would you eat a cat?
Yes.
If it was, yeah.
You know, would you eat a dog?
Yes.
I mean, you know, you're mistreating that animal. That animal is
No,
being put-
if the
So
meat of an animal can't.
You are conflating the eating of meat with how the meat is acquired. You are conflating the eating of meat with how the meat is acquired.
You are conflating the eating of meat with how it is acquired. Okay, let's substitute meat for something else. Okay, let's say we have we discover a tribe of people whose blood tastes like wine. Okay, so hypothetically, this company decides, okay, so we're gonna kill these people and sell their blood because it tastes like wine. So and people buy it. Other people who if you went out there, right, and you bought this wine that was obviously that is someone's blood, so they've obviously suffered for that and ultimately died. Are you not morally culpable for that? Because I fail to see a distinction there. Let's say that I want to kill you. So I hire an assassin, and the assassin kills you. Or I go and kill you myself. Is there a great moral distinction there? Because some people tend to get annoyed when I use these extreme examples. It's like, oh no, I wouldn't murder anybody. And I was like, no, it's a comparison. It's, But let's say that I really want my neighbor's milk, so I go over to his house, I break into his house, and I steal the milk. And let's say in scenario B, I pay someone to go into my neighbor's house and steal the milk for me. Now, in both scenarios there, the quote-unquote unintended consequence is that my neighbor no longer has milk. So this is upsetting for him, maybe he wanted cereal, whatever. So you're telling me that in scenario, whatever, A or B, whatever it was now, where I pay someone to go and break into my neighbor's house and get the milk, you're saying that I'm not responsible, or I'm not intending to deprive my neighbor of milk. That is just ridiculous, of course you are. It's a direct consequence of your action.
Those are two separate things. If there's a cat killed on the side of the road, I did nothing to it. It's not immoral in the slightest for me to eat that cat.
Now, obviously, if a cat is killed on the side of the road, then presumably you had nothing to do with that. However, if you paid for someone to run that cat over, then yes, you are morally culpable for that. You're not morally culpable for it, however, if you just came across that cat lying in the side of the road, and that's not a fair comparison. Matt, I'm sure you know that. And this is what's laughable about this, is that most vegans will say that no, it's not immoral for you to eat that cat either. Or at least a lot of vegans that I've heard say talk about this, that they're not against people eating a roadkill or whatever. It's not going to hurt the animal. I don't understand the point you're trying to make here.
So what if you pay somebody to kill the cat for you? Is that immoral?
Well, it depends. Is a cat a domesticated animal that has an owner, or is it a farm animal? Because there's a distinction.
What is the distinction there? Can you imagine making that distinction in any other situation? Oh, this person's gone rogue, so they're not as valuable as other humans anymore, or something. Seriously? I just don't understand. This is just crazy to me. So, presumably, if it's about domestication, then the cat is not what's of concern here. What's of concern is who owns the cat, right? And the relationship that cat has with the human. That's ridiculous to me. That's like saying, oh, my family, they're valuable, but everybody else's family, they're not valuable. For some arbitrary reason, I have decided that they are of no worth. I don't understand what this argument is.
Well, I mean, I don't understand what distinction there is. For instance, if you put a cat in a crate, you just explained to me that would be causing harm.
Yeah.
And you left it in a crate for 6 months. It would be causing harm to that cat.
You haven't asked me the obvious question, Albert. This is the thing your thinking is very confused. If you ask me, is putting a pig in a small container for months harmful to the pig? My answer would be yes.
Okay, so Matt is basically, he's saying that, he admits that it's harmful. Again, I didn't see why this is some big thing. Obviously, pretty much everyone is going to admit that if you hit a pig, it's harmful to that pig. This is not some revelation. But he's saying that it can be okay to harm a pig in certain circumstances. Now, the examples he brings up, things like, oh, it's a dog that's a danger to humans and children or whatever. Well, yeah, that's obviously different to, oh, I fancy having a burger tonight. That's not really the same. In one of those situations, people's lives are in danger, and in the other scenario, they want a burger. It's not quite the same there.
My view is consistent. You are not thinking about these things. You think you have a gotcha, but you're not asking equivalent questions.
No.
You asked if putting a cat in a box for months in order to teach it something was something I would do, and I would say no. You asked if it harmed the cat. If you asked,
no,
Albert, let me finish.
Yeah, Albert, let him finish.
You asked me if it would harm the cat. I said yes, and then you asked me, do you eat bacon? Which is not remotely the same as would it harm a pig to lock a pig in a tiny container for months.
I mean, Jesus Christ. How is that not remotely the same? What you have done is you've gone to the shop and you bought this. So what you have caused is that, you know, a pig has been locked in a container for months, essentially. I mean, I don't... How can you say that? That's just ridiculous. Again, if we go back to the tribes people, it's, you know, whose blood tastes like wine. And let's say they're locked up in containers while we, you know, stab them to death and collect their blood for the wine that's going to be sold in Morrison's, you know. If we do that, and they're locked up in these containers, then and you go and buy that, how are you not responsible for them being in those containers? Like, you understand that if you didn't buy that wine, there would be no market for it, so these people wouldn't be in those containers. You do understand this, right? This is not rocket science. Okay, people don't just do things in this society. They do things to make money, right? They don't just do things for the sake of it.
And my answer is yes. My answers are consistent. It is your confused questioning that is inconsistent.
Also, I'm just sort of wondering why you didn't go to, would you sentence someone to go to jail? Because that's locking a human in a crate.
How is that comparable again? In situations where that human is put in jail, it's usually, it's not always, and I don't really agree with how it's done at the moment, but it's supposed to be so, you know, that person is no longer a danger to other people. Now pigs are not killed because they're a danger to people. This is just absurd. They're killed because you want some bacon. How is this so difficult? Come on. I'm trying not to be mean, but I just do not understand how this is not being understood.
Locking a human in a crate, and if it's a federal facility, then oftentimes locking a human in a large, complicated series of crates where they're going to encounter people.
That's directly analogous. Jamie's question there is directly analogous to that.
Right, no, if the person did something wrong, I don't think a pig can do something wrong. Just like I don't think pooping outside the litter box warrants putting a cat outside.
But now
So
you're
to be
talking
clear, so to be clear, what you've acknowledged is that there are circumstances under which causing harm, as an isolated idea, you wouldn't want. All other things being equal, you wouldn't want to cause harm. So
what we can infer from this is that Jamie is saying that, again, if I want some bacon, then it's perfectly okay for me to lock a pig in a container. It's perfectly okay for me to sauce that pig in hideous ways. But he's not going to say that outright. He's not going to say that because he knows that sounds ridiculous. So he's going to just say, he's going to go back to the cat in the box example, as does Matt. Matt never, if you notice, Matt will never talk about his justification for eating meat.
However, if we live in a society and we have prisons, and we support this idea, then clearly there are circumstances under which causing the harm of locking a human being in a box with bars is permitted.
Yes, but if let's say that I fell out with my neighbour and I decided that it would be okay to lock him in a container, do you think that's justified? No. So this is not, you know, if I decide that my neighbour would taste nice on a burger, you know, in a bun, and I decide to lock him up and then chop all these bits off and put them in my burger, do you think that people would be okay? Do you think people would be like, well, you know, it's justified in some circumstances, you know? No, they wouldn't. No.
So, for example, you could view Albert, you could view cats and dogs as roughly equivalent for this example. And if the dog pooped inside, would you lock him up in a crate for months? No. But if the dog was rabid and demonstrated danger to people, I would definitely lock him in a crate until such time as we could actually put the dog down.
Again, if the dog is rabid, that's obviously a completely different scenario. People are in danger. People are not in danger for not eating meat. This is not the same.
So you have to you're talking about, is there harm by locking something in a cage? Yes, and that's true for pigs, cats, dogs, and human beings. The separate question is there sufficient justification to lock something in a cage? If the cat is violent and vicious, and or the dog is violent and vicious, then maybe you have sufficient justification to put that cat or dog in a cage, the same as you would a human.
Again, why is it that you only talk about this? You only talk about the example where the animal is a danger to somebody? Because you know full well that you cannot do this. You cannot talk about the meat example, even though that's the one that the caller brought up and the one that, you know, he wants to talk about. You're not talking about that one. You deliberately talk about other examples that can easily be justified.
This is the problem when you start making these moral quandaries and dilemmas. They have to be directly analogous. Otherwise, you are committing the fallacy by analogy. That you have two things that are not equivalent. It's equivocation fallacy that you're trying to make equivalent. So lock a cat in a box, is it harmful? Yes. But that doesn't mean that there's not a good reason for it. It just means that not pooping in a litter box isn't sufficient justification for putting it in the box. Does that make sense?
Right, but see,
where's my cognitive dissonance? Where's my failure to reason?
Right. This is where we got off. You're trying to justify your action of eating bacon.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No point
right.
Did I try to justify why I eat bacon. We haven't even had a conversation about whether or not it's moral to eat bacon.
Because eating bacon isn't equivalent to murdering an animal or killing an animal, whichever. Because eating bacon isn't equivalent to murdering an animal or killing an animal, whichever.
And I think we're just going to end on that. I could play that on loop all day. Jamie, Jamie, come on, Matt. Come on. Just listen to yourself. Okay, then we're gonna end now.
Because eating bacon isn't equivalent to murdering an animal or killing an animal, whichever.